Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
You guys completely abandoned me. I have had the worst week of my life.
And I needed you. And you were too busy. You guys are bad friends. And this, MANG is dead. So.
Let's be honest for a second. When you click on a video about Ginny and Georgia, you usually expect a deep dive into Georgia's criminal mastermind era, or maybe a breakdown of Ginny's therapy sessions, or perhaps a 10-minute compilation of Marcus Baker just looking at things. And that makes sense. The show is literally named after two of them. But we need to talk about the person standing awkwardly in the background of every MANG selfie. We need to talk about Abby Littman. See, in the hierarchy of high school dramas, there are roles we all recognize. You have the brooding love interest, the queen bee, the new girl with a dark past. And then you have the fourth friend, the one who feels a little too prickly, a little too desperate for validation, and frankly, the one who always seems to be killing the mood with her problems. For a long time, the fandom and even the show itself treated Abby as the villain of the friend group. She was the one who slapped Ginny. She was the one who blamed everyone else for the group falling apart. She is the character people love to hate because she reflects the ugly, messy parts of insecurity that we don't want to look at. But if you actually peel back the layers of hair dye and forced smiles, you realize something terrifying. While everyone is worried about Georgia's past coming back to haunt her, Abby is actively drowning in the present. She is living through the darkest, most realistic depiction of teenage mental health collapse on the show. And the tragedy is, nobody is noticing. Not her parents, not her best friends, and maybe not even us. So today, we are going to stop ignoring Abby. Because while she might not be the main character, her story is the warning sign we can't afford to miss. Chapter 1. The architecture of MANG and why Abby is the foundation. Let's break down the architecture of MANG, shall we? Because friend groups are rarely a democracy. They are ecosystems. And in this ecosystem, Abby isn't the leader and she isn't the heart. She's the glue. But not the good kind of glue that holds a craft project together. She's the messy, desperate kind of glue you use when something is shattered and you're trying to force the pieces to stick before anyone notices it's broken. Think about the dynamic. Max is the center of gravity. The world revolves around her energy. Ginny is the exciting new variable. Nora is there, vibing, conflict-averse, and safe. And then there's Abby. Throughout this series, whenever MANG starts to fracture, look at who panics the most. It's always Abby. And it's easy to read that as her being controlling or possessive. But let's look at the receipts. When the group breaks up, Max has her family and her girlfriends. Ginny has Zion, Georgia, and Marcus. Even Nora has her boyfriend. Who does Abby have? Nobody. When the group chat goes silent, Abby goes home to a house that is literally being dismantled by her parents' divorce. Her desperation to keep the friend group together isn't about popularity, it's about survival. She tolerates Max's self-centeredness and Ginny's secrets not because she's loyal, but because she is terrified of the silence that waits for her when she's alone. She is intellectually aware that these friendships are toxic, but she is emotionally homeless without them. Chapter 2. Tape, mirrors, and silent screams. Okay, we need to go to the dark place now, because we can't talk about Abby without talking about the mirror. Ginny in Georgia is pretty loud about its trauma. Ginny burns herself, and we have entire episodes dedicated to her therapy and her panic attacks. We hear about it. But Abby's struggle, it is almost entirely silent. It is visual, and that makes it so much more haunting. We have to talk about the taping. There is a scene that I think is permanently etched into the brain of every viewer. Abby standing in front of the mirror, taking duct tape and wrapping it around her thighs to force a thigh gap, to physically compress her body into a shape it isn't meant to hold. This isn't just body image issues. This is a violent act of self-correction. It is physical punishment for existing in a way she deems wrong. What's so chilling about this storyline is how private it is. Ginny's self-harm is a scream for release. Abby's self-harm is a ritual of erasure. She is literally trying to make herself smaller. She is taping herself together because she feels like she's falling apart. And the worst part, no one knows. She puts on the clothes, she puts on the smile, and she goes to school. The show uses the medium of film perfectly here. We, the audience, are the only witnesses. We are complicit in her secret. We see her starving herself. We see the body dysmorphia eating her alive. And then we watch her walk into the cafeteria and have her friends roll their eyes at her for being moody. It creates this visceral frustration where you just want to shake the other characters and scream, "Look at her! She is not okay!"
Chapter 3. A cry for help disguised as drama. This brings us to the biggest criticism of Abby. She's so dramatic. She's so selfish. Why did she slap Ginny? And look, I'm not here to defend the slap. That was not a girl boss moment, that was a breakdown. But we have to contextualize why she acts out. A lot of people apply the glass child theory to Abby. But honestly, that's Max's storyline with Marcus. Abby's reality is actually much lonelier. She is what psychologists might call the identified patient, or simply collateral damage. In her house, she isn't looked through, she is looked at, but only to be criticized or managed. Her dad is checking out of the family, treating her like a piece of furniture he's leaving behind. Her mom is projecting her own neuroses onto Abby's body, obsessing over her weight instead of her happiness. And in her friend group, her problems, divorce and body image, are treated as basic compared to the murder plots and intense trauma the others are facing. So Abby learns a very dangerous lesson. Negative attention is better than no attention. When she snaps, when she creates conflict, when she forces everyone to look at her, it's a survival instinct. She is lighting a flare gun in the middle of the living room. When she gets angry about her friends ignoring her parents' divorce, that isn't her being a brat. That is her realizing that she is the background character in her own life. So when Abby acts out, when she's too much, it's because she knows that if she stops screaming, everyone will just forget she's there. Chapter 4. The press problem. Seeking pain as validation. If the taping scene is the private manifestation of Abby's self-hatred, then press is the public one. We need to talk about press, because on the surface, this relationship makes zero sense. Why would Abby, who is desperate for love and acceptance, hook up with the guy who literally has her saved in his phone as whale legs? It is objectively horrific. It's the kind of cruelty that makes you want to throw your remote at the TV. But from a psychological perspective, it makes perfect sense. Abby is caught in a cycle of confirmation bias. When she looks in the mirror, she sees something broken and wrong. She bullies herself every single day. So when press calls her names or treats her like she's disposable, he isn't just being a jerk. He is validating her internal monologue. He is the only person in her life who agrees with the worst things she thinks about herself. It's a twisted form of comfort. There is no cognitive dissonance with press. With her friends, she has to pretend to be okay. With her parents, she has to pretend to be invisible. But with press, she can be exactly what she fears she is: unworthy. It is digital self-harm brought to life. She seeks out his cruelty because, to her distorted self-image, it feels like the truth. It's not that she likes him, it's that she believes him. Chapter 5. The tragedy of being resilient. As we move into season 3, we see the other characters getting help. Ginny goes to therapy, her self-harm is discovered and addressed. Marcus's depression is given a spotlight. He is allowed to rot in bed. He is allowed to stop functioning. The narrative and the characters around them stop to help them. But Abby keeps showing up. She puts on the makeup, she goes to the parties, she sits at the lunch table. And because she is still functioning, because she isn't outwardly spiraling in a way that inconveniences anyone, her trauma is treated as less severe. This is the tragedy of the resilient friend. The world assumes that if you're standing up, you're not dying. We see Abby practically vibrating with anxiety, physically wasting away. And yet, because she's still participating in the social hierarchy of MANG, she's expected to just deal with it. The show is highlighting a brutal reality of mental health. Help is often reserved for those who scream the loudest or break the most visibly. If you suffer quietly, if you suffer while still trying to maintain the status quo, you will be left behind. Abby isn't recovering in season 3. It's just that she's getting better at hiding the evidence. Conclusion: why we need to talk about Abby. So, why is Abby Littman the darkest storyline nobody talks about? Because she represents the type of suffering that is uncomfortable to watch. We like our TV victims to be noble or mysterious or poetic. Abby is none of those things. She is messy. She is petty. She is jealous. She makes bad choices and pushes people away. She is difficult to love. And that is exactly why she's so important. Most people struggling with body dysmorphia, divorce, or isolation don't look like tragic heroines. They look like Abby. They act out, they get prickly, they cling to toxic people because it's better than nothing. By writing Abby off as annoying or the worst character, we are doing exactly what her friends are doing. We are choosing to look away because her pain is inconvenient. We need to stop ignoring Abby because she is the girl drowning in the shallow end of the pool while everyone is watching the deep end. She is a reminder that sometimes the person rolling their eyes in the corner is the one who needs a lifeline the most. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive. I really want to know where you stand on this. Do you think the show is intentionally writing Abby this way to make a point? Or do you think she's just meant to be the messy friend? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And subscribe if you want to see more video essays that overanalyze the shows we're all binge watching. I'll see you in the next one.